Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the book Refuge and welcome to another romance recommendation video. This is one that I can't believe I haven't made yet. I'm pretty sure I haven't made this video before and I'm actually surprised that I haven't. But when I was going through my recommendations list, I was like, I've never made this video before, which as you can tell by the title is books with caretaking in it. So first up, I want to say these books that I'm going to share, they're going to be different levels of caretaking. Like there's going to be some where it's like the person was on the brink of death, and then there's going to be some where maybe there's only a scene or two of like the caretaking in there, but it was like a really sweet one, so I put it in. So we're going to go ahead and go through that. I have books kind of in all genres in here, so this is going to be really fun. We're going to start at the top, make it pop. So that's going to be the first one I want to mention is Wild by Adrienne Wilder. Sorry, I forgot how to say it. This one is intense. This is a survival novel, which I actually have a few of those on here because there's caretaking that happens in those. This is a gay romance, and it takes place in the Alaskan wild, I think, or the Canadian, I'm not sure which. But our hero, August, is a model and a Hollywood type, and he is on a small charter plane with his kind of ex-boyfriend and some other people from the crew that they're on, and their plane crashes. And our hero, August, is the only one alive, but he is stuck in his seat, and he sees a bear going through and kind of like eating the dead bodies of his friends. And our hero, Keegan, has been living in the wilderness for 10 years. We don't know why. We don't know what caused him to do this. But he doesn't even live in a cabin out there. He literally just lives in the wilderness to hide from the world. And he sees this plane go down, and he sees that Keegan is alive, barely. He has broken ribs, broken leg, serious injuries, and he knows it's going to be more work than it's worth, but he rescues him. And he takes him to this, I can't remember what the cabin is called, but there's this man who owns a cabin out there, and any travelers, any people on there who maybe need to winter over in the cabin, it's stocked with food and firewood and all those things you might need. And he only comes in for like a month or two during the summer to stay there and restock everything. And Keegan is able to get August there, and the problem is that winter is setting in, and there's no way he's going to be able to help him get down the mountain to civilization. And if he left him there, he wouldn't be able to take care of himself well enough. So they really are going to have to winter through this cabin together. And hopefully when spring comes, that pilot will come in with his plane to restock and he will see them. That's the hope anyway, right? And there's a lot of caretaking in the beginning of this one because our one hero can't even wipe his ass on his own. And this is, I love this book so much. It really is one of the books that helped spiral me through my survival romances that I was reading recently because, oh my gosh, this one, they are in so many dangerous situations. But Keegan is so enamored with August and just really infatuated with him, but also is like trying to keep him alive, and he's just like this bear of a man, literally like the gay version of bear, as well as he's literally just hairy and growly and just so great. I love this one so much, so I definitely want to recommend that for this caretaking video. Then maybe I'm throwing a crazy one out there, but I wanted to have some stuff from everything. So I wanted to recommend Ensnared by Tiffany Roberts, which this is a book that I've brought up a few times. This is an alien romance between this arachnid-looking alien and our heroine, Ivy, who has crash landed on this planet, and her fellow humans either all died or in cryostasis or whatever, they're in ice sleep, and she's the only one who her machine died. And our hero, he happens to stumble upon this spaceship, and he goes through it and he realizes that Ivy is not in the thing, and so he takes her. and there's a huge language barrier between the two of them. She is not made for this planet that they're on at all. I mean, he's, besides being this, you know, big, scary creature, he has, you know, plating, and he's strong, and he can kill things with his pincers and with everything. But he is the sweetest, most thoughtful alien Spider-Man ever. And Ivy begins to realize that through his tender love and care. And this is the Spider's Mate series. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, but I just felt like this one would be an interesting one to put in for Caretaking, because he really is the only thing keeping her alive on this planet for a good part of it. And it's a very slow burn. It's more of like a, kind of like a friends to lovers situation, because yeah, it's beautiful. All right, then I have one where this one for me has a specific scene. So this is one of the ones that the whole book isn't a caretaking thing, but it has a specific scene, and that's the Casanova by TL Swan. So I haven't talked too much about the Casanova, because y'all know, like, this was a 5-star book for me, but it also just couldn't hold up to the takeover. But that does not mean that it might not still be for you. I mean, it was great. It was good. It's just, you know, no other Miles brother is going to be Tristan. But this one is about Elliot and Kate. This is an enemies to lover. This is a boss and employee thing situation. But our heroine, she has, shoot, now I don't remember what it is. I feel like a bad friend, but she has a scene in here where she gets her period so badly. She has extreme, like, cramping and pain. And he happens to, like, catch her, I believe, like, when she's going home, and he sees how much pain she's in, so he actually goes and, like, sits by her bed and is, like, taking care of her, like, through her period and everything. And it's the cutest scene ever. Like, it's so cute. Like, honestly, it's the best. And it's when things really start to turn between the two of them, because he sees her in this, like, vulnerable light, and he realizes that, oh wow, she's not just my bitchy employee who's sexy. And she realizes that he has more depth than just the playboy that she's thought of him as. So that's just a specific scene of it, but I really liked it. Then Devil in Disguise by Lisa Kleypas. Yes, I did put a million notes on this one. This one I definitely like. I don't want to spoil anything with this because I absolutely love this book. But this one has an amazing scene. Our hero, man, he just goes through it. He gets stabbed at one point. Then he gets blown up, and he gets amnesia. But anyway, there's a part where, like, so this one is, if you don't know about this book, oh my gosh. Okay, so Lady Merritt Sterling, she is a widow and a business owner. She runs her deceased husband's shipping business, and Care is a whiskey manufacturer and, like, merchant kind of, and he is shipping his goods through her business, and there's a problem that happens, and so they end up having an interaction, and there's immediate sparks between the two of them. It's adorable. It's great. And so she invites him for dinner, and he gets stabbed on the way to dinner, but he still goes to dinner, and she discovers he's stabbed. So then she's like, you're not leaving my house, and she calls the doctor for him, who's actually a family friend, and she's really, like, looking after him, and they have this, like, beautiful night together. And then the amnesia thing happens, and he forgets about the last 48 hours. And there's such a beautiful line in this. Well, it's heartbreaking, but it's like, what's so important could have happened in 48 hours that would be vital to me that, like, I would forget, you know? And it's like, you met the girl of your dreams and you forgot about her. But there is some great caretaking stuff in this one as well. Then we have Uncharted. This one is also kind of another survival. This is more of like, this is romantic suspense. Our heroine, her name is Leo, and her hero's name is Elias. She is a pilot. She needs to fly in to warn Elias about some people that are coming after him, and they are really coming after her at the same time, and so her plane ends up crashing. And so not only is she in extreme pain because she's been hurt, they need to try to escape the clutches of these people coming after them. And so it's like they're on the run and she needs to be taken care of. So it's kind of like two things at once. Does that make sense? This is book 2 in the, what's this series called? It has a name. I forgot what the series is called. Survival Instinct? Maybe it's called Survival. Yeah, Survival Instincts. So I really enjoy this series, by the way. The audiobooks are amazing. So, like that one. Then we have kind of a serial killer romance that has some beautiful caretaking in it. And that is The Devil and I by Kay Alastor. This is a debut book for Kay Alastor. This book is amazing. So our hero's name is Lucas, and he's actually a police officer who's also a vigilante in his time off. And he kills people who've killed people or raped people or been horrible. Our heroine's name is Raina, and this book begins, trigger warning, with her having attempted suicide because a man who raped her has told her that he's coming back for her, and she just can't face it. And so she goes into the woods and slits her wrists. Lucas happens to just be starting his vacation where he's planning to do another murder when he takes his 2 weeks vacation. He has a murder cabin out in the middle of nowhere where he does his deeds. And he happens to come across Raina in the woods while he's going for a jog. And he sees that she tried to kill herself, and he wraps up her wrists and he takes her to his cabin and decides that she's going to be his because she'd already written a suicide note. Everyone thinks that she's going to be dead already, so he might as well take her for himself. And when he finds out the reason why she hurt herself, all bets are off. This has beautiful caretaking. This has like worshipful hero, even though he is, you know, a psychopath and he stole her. It's beautiful. I love it so much. Then I have kind of a funny one to share. And that's actually Forever Pucked by Helena Hunting. So this is a follow-up to Pucked. It technically fits as like number 4 in the series, but I actually like read Pucked and then I read this one and then I went back and read the others because it's also like a sequel to Violet and Alex's story in Pucked. So in that book, that's their romance. This book is their like happily ever after together, and they're planning their wedding, and Alex gets an extreme injury at work. Like, he could have died from it. Severe concussion, broken body parts. He's in so much pain. And so there's a good portion of this book where Violet is trying to help bring him back from that, trying to keep his morale up there, making sure that their sex life can still be what they want it to be. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I know that Alex and Violet are not for everyone, but I really enjoy this series. It always gives me a laugh. It's super sexy, almost a bit over the top with the humor, but I enjoy it. And I mean, the caretaking in this is really sweet. Yeah, I just love Violet and how she takes care of her man. It's so cute. Then I have a historical to share. I actually have 2 historicals because I forgot one. Up here. Don't mind me. Put that down here. I have Eyes of Silver, Eyes of Gold by Ellen O'Connell. This is one of my favorite books of the year that I've read. This is a Western romance. This is also, our hero is half Native, and our heroine is this woman who's kind of on the run because her father is trying to make her marry someone she doesn't want to marry, who's very old, by the way, and so she's gonna go on the run and run away, and she ends up making a stop, and she spends the night in Cord, C-O-R-D, Cord's barn. And they know each other. They actually went to school together when they were young, and they kind of had a little bit of flirty flirt, but Cord is a very stoic man, so his version of flirty flirt was like looking at her without scowling a little bit. So what do you do? And so he finds her in his barn and is like, hey, you can't make a run for it with only $20. Let me loan you some more money and I'll take you to the train station and we'll get you out of here. Well, before they can get out of there, her father shows up with a gang and they beat the ever-loving hell out of Cord, basically leaving him for death. They beat her up too. They tell her to make her way home when she realizes the mistake that she made, and they leave them to die, basically. And so a good portion of the beginning of this book is Anne trying to make sure that he doesn't die, because he's very close to it. Like, the things that were done to the both of them are horrifying. So, but this definitely has caretaking, and it's really good. And the last one that I want to mention that I had to awkwardly grab because I forgot it in my stack is Seduction of a Highland Lass, which this is book 2 in the McCabe Brothers trilogy. This is about Alaric and Keely, and Alaric is supposed to enter an arranged marriage with Riona MacDonald to save, to make a peace between their two families. And on his way to his betrothal with her, he gets ambushed and left for dead. His men who are with him are killed, and his horse brings him to the door of Keely MacDonald, who is actually an outcast from the MacDonald clan, but she's also a healer. And so literally this one is caretaking, because he's basically dropped almost dead at her doorstep. And when his brothers finally find them, they're like, what's he doing here? She's like, I had nothing to do with it. His horse brought him to my door. I'm just trying to make sure that he lives. They bring her and him back to the McCabe land to help him heal. And as they're falling in love with her, they need to remember that he is still supposed to marry Riona MacDonald. But that wouldn't be a very good romance if that's what had to happen now, would it? So there we go. All right. So those are some books that have wonderful caretaking in them. Please let me know what your favorites are. Again, I tried to pick ones that were different from ones I'd seen my friends put in their videos, so I know that there is a lot of these, but these were some of my favorite that I read this year. So thank you so much for watching. I put out new videos 3 to 4 times a week, and you can watch some more of them right now. Bye.